To illustrate the point of how subtle our rejection of experience can get, I wanted to talk a little bit about an experience I had with a client of mine doing somatic inquiry. Now, with this client, we went through multiple layers of emotional resistance in the body that was stored in the body, and we went all the way down together into the depths of shame. And I always admire the courage that to go to these places, because it's not easy. And the core pattern that was observed in this place was, I am not enough. Now, so many humans have this pattern, and it's always so illuminating to me just to see that come up again and again. But in this instance, what was really interesting, my friend has been doing the psycho-spiritual work for some time, and we actually met on our first 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. So he's done the work. He's done a lot of spiritual inner integrations. But what happened in this place was both feeling the shame together, both feeling that I am not enough. And in the process, he then essentially tried to use a new thought-based narrative to inject into that place of I am not enough. And what he did in this instance was he imagined himself being enough. I believe the mental image was a power pose, something akin to this, and saying, I am enough. And you can see how it would make sense in many respects, going all the way down into our nervous system to relinquish some suffering, finding a pattern that says, I am not enough, and then telling ourselves, actually, I am enough. And in a respect, this is a beautiful thing, right? It's truly a beautiful thing, that I'm not here to deny that. But if you pay close attention, and whether or not this is true in your experience, when you do the inner work, when you do the shadow work, if you pay close attention to what that sets up, it's rejecting the part of ourselves that says, I am not enough. Because I have to sort of tell myself I am enough. But there's still this sort of subtle separation there of rejecting that part of our experience. So for me, this approach of unconditional love essentially is not so much to do that, not so much to inject a new thought-based narrative into that terrain, but it is to see and meet those parts of us that we have denied in ourselves, imagining them almost as children who have been denied, repressed, pushed aside, perhaps cross-generationally, and it's been transmitted from human to human to human, but we're meeting them with a sense of reverence. This is almost like an archetype that's been passed down and we're finally meeting and coming into contact with. And rather than trying to push them away by superimpose a new identity, we're just meeting them with this curiosity and this love of, wow, what do you need? Let me make space for you. Let me breathe into you. I'm not here to change you. You can be exactly as you are. And just breathing into them. You can be here. Putting a warm blanket around their back. And just sitting with them. Creating space. Familiarizing ourselves. And training our nervous system that, hey, I actually have the capacity to feel this. So it's about unearthing for me. Unearthing and just seeing clearly what's going on underneath. Because that emotion may come up again. But it's not about trying to change it when it does, but it's just about meeting it with this sense of, hey, you can be here. And I see the utility of you. because these patterns exist for a reason, right? They don't just come up out of thin air and exist to create misery for us. They served a utility. They have a function. For example, if I'm not enough, if I tell myself I'm not enough, subconsciously, like the nervous system learns this subconsciously, it puts itself down below other people. If I tell myself that, it A, gives me the opportunity to become enough. It gives me something to seek so that I can finally be good enough. But B, it also gives me love, gives me validation. If I can put myself below other people, then they'll accept me. I beat myself up so that, I won't do it again, and then they'll accept me into the tribe. And it could be any other sort of reason. The important thing is, what does it mean for you? That's why I love somatic inquiry so much, because it allows us to trust your intuition and go to these places and figure out exactly what is that resistance? What is that utility? How has it served you? I want to ask you though, where do you see yourself doing that? And be particularly mindful of the mind's capacity to use spiritual language or self-help language that it's learned throughout its spiritual journey to try and change your experience rather than just fully accepting and embracing it as it is. So thank you so much, guys. I hope this helps. Drop your comments and I'll look forward to replying to them. I always love responding and conversing with you guys. So let me know what you think. Much love.